the, I will not say the issue, but this is very similar to what you've struggled with last year. It's the same kind of thing. I can see there's still, you struggle to recognize what kind of factorization you have to do. You struggle, once you've decided, you still like, you mess it up slightly. So let's see if we can sort that out for you. Okay. So the first thing that we do when we, so the ones I have on the board are the ones that you got wrong, both of you or one of you. You need to look at, first we look at the numbers. So we have to look at the biggest number that can divide into 3, 6, and 9. That is normally easy to see. And in this case, that would be 3. And then we check the unknown. The unknown with the lowest power is the unknown that is the highest common factor. I know it feels the wrong way around. So one of you remove 3x as a common factor. That is a common factor, but that's not the highest common factor. We have to go with x squared here. Okay. And this leaves us with 1 minus 2x plus 3x squared. And then once you have done this, check inside the bracket if there is not something else that you can remove. Let's say this happened. That you've done it like this. So initially you thought that 3x is the common factor. 3x is a common factor. So that leaves us with x here minus 2x squared plus 3x cubed. Now you should realize, although this is not wrong, this is not complete. Now, there's another x in each of them. That's why this is your next step. So this is wrong if you leave it like that, but it's not wrong if that is just one of your steps. Okay, 6.6, looking at the numbers, so the biggest number is 7. There's an x, no there's not an x, there's a y in each of them. So which one do we remove? The lowest power, there's a y squared, there's a y, so I will remove 7y. Then what is left here is x squared and another y. On Saturday I was doing a race here, then your mom and a friend was walking down there. They passed Tech and I waved at her, I shouted her name, she said, hi, how are you doing?
Yesterday walk every Monday.
Well, that was on Saturday.
Yes.
Oh, okay. 7 divides into 5, 35 times. We have an x, y, z over there. And the last one, 7 divides into 28 4 times. And that leaves us with a 4z squared. I'm sure if after I've done it on the board, you will think to yourself, actually I know how to do this, it's just that, I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Is it not? This is not really difficult, but it catches out a person. This one is tricky because it deals with fractions. So let's say, for argument's sake, this was 4x plus 16y. What would be the highest common factor?
4.
4. So if I have a quarter and a 16th, then my highest common factor is still a quarter. So you just look at the regular numbers and then make it up from there. Okay, so we will go with a quarter. We have A and B in each. Only thing is I have to check for the lowest power of A. What is the lowest power of A?
Squared.
The squared. And the lowest power of B? Also squared. So in the first one we will short just a B. Here we will short a quarter, because a quarter times a quarter gives me a 16th. And over here I'll short a and no B. Any questions here?
No, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Did you copy it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, next one. 6.8. I have 16, I have 8, and I have 36. So 2 is a common factor, but 4 is also a common factor. 8 will not work, so we'll go with 4. AB is in all of them. So what will be the power of the A that I removed?
A cubed. Squared.
Squared, the smallest one there. So that will be a squared. And the b's, which is what is the smallest one?
Cubed.
The cubed. So that is that one with the power of 3. And then once you have done this correctly, then we can just check, okay, 4 times, I need another 4 here. There's already an a squared, so I need another a. B to the power of 5 minus. 4 divides in, I shorted 2 here. 4 times 2 will give me the minus 8. 4 times minus 2. And I'll short a. And I'll short b to the power of 4. And then to the last one, 4 divides into 36 9 times. We already have an a squared, a b cubed, so that will be the final answer. So now a and b to the 9.
Yes.
Okay, then with this one is confusing because of the many brackets and you're not sure exactly where to start. So if I look at this bracket and this bracket, are they the same?
Yes, sir. No. No, sir.
They're close. Is that true?
Yes.
Is that true?
No, sir. Yes, sir.
It is.
It is.
2 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 2.
And 2 minus 3.
Is not the same. So this is what we call associativeness. So we can move them around. I think it's associative. But as soon as I do this, that is not true anymore. Because this side gives me a minus 1 and that side gives me 1. So if there's a negative in between, the brackets are not the same, but I can change them to become the same. And this is what we're going to do here. So I'm going to change it to become like the first bracket. That one stays the same. So what do I do if I swap the 2 around? How do I swap? If I have the 2a first, so 2a minus 3b, what must I do here in front?
The sign has to
The sign has to change. So if the sign is positive, it becomes negative. If the sign is negative, it becomes positive. In this case, it becomes a negative 2a minus 3b. Now there are 2 things that you need to pay close attention to here. The first one is this, that we have a common factor there and there. So that is the thing that we're going to remove. And that will come to the front here. So instead of just having a number, we now have, or a letter, we now have more than one term, a whole bracket. So that bracket goes here. Here's the bracket. And then a new bracket starts. If I remove this first one here, this bracket is still here. So 4c plus d is still there. What is in front of the last bracket here? What is in front here?
negative 1.
A negative 1 really, no. So that is a negative 1. And I'm going to use this, let me rather do it in a highlighter that you can see this properly. So this is a minus 1 and the minus 1 goes inside the bracket there. You see how important that is? Because I've removed. Okay, now check this. In the second step, I had one term, another term. So once I remove my common factor, I must still have, here's my first term and there's my second term where the minus 1 was. And there's nothing more that I can do here. If you had brackets around here, if I had brackets around here, you can just leave them out and then nothing is going to change, so it stays like that. But always tricky when it's not a number that you have to, but more than one. Okay, as you can recall, I have said this, I think, in the past. When we get to a stage like this and there's nothing clear that we can remove and there are brackets, then we multiply them out. So I'm multiplying out the brackets, or the set of brackets there in the center. So how many terms do we have here?
4.
4. If you see 4 terms, now I know this is still new to you. 4 terms means you have to do grouping. You have to group together. So if you see 4 or more terms, I don't know, have you done this in class yet?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The grouping?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if we see 4 terms, we need to do grouping. And as a general rule, group the first 2 together and group the next 2 together. Don't put any brackets there, just like that. So I'm going to look at the blue part first. So in the blue part, what is the common factor?
A.
A is a common factor. And what is left? To get an a squared, we need another a and plus 3. Now I look at the green part. In the green part, what is the common factor there?
B.
B is the common factor. So the B comes to the front and that gives me a plus 3. Now you can see that we have again created the 2 common factor, the common factor that I can remove, the a plus 3. The a plus 3 goes to the front. A plus b, easy one to see now because there's your a and there's your b. So multiplying out is not the first thing to do, but if you don't have another choice, then you can multiply out like I have done here to get rid of the bracket in the beginning. All good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 7.5. Again, here we're dealing with 4 terms. So that means grouping again. But you will notice that if I group the first 2 together, there's no common factor and there's no common factor. There's nothing there. So I'm going to rearrange them so that I have these 2 together and that I have those 2 together. So I'm just rearranging them. M plus Mn. And then I'm left with those with the little squiggly thing there. That looks like that. Between the first 2 and between the next 2, I'm going to look for some factorization of some sort. What is the common factor with those with the yellow highlighter? M. Now we have n1 plus n. Check. If I had 2 terms here, I still have 2 terms. If I multiply the m in, I will get what I have here on top. Now I need to get 1 plus n or n plus 1, and you can see here I have minus minus, so I'm going to remove minus as a common factor. So what do you notice about the 2 brackets? Are they the same?
No, sir. Yes, sir.
Check. They are, because we're adding.
Oh,
No.
yes, sir.
1 plus 2 and 2 plus 1 is the same, but if it's a negative, that's an issue. So now I would just have to do the following. Just keep in mind that over here we have a 1 in front. Don't forget that one, or in this case more specifically a minus 1. So here we go with 1 plus n or n1 plus n or n plus 1, doesn't matter which way around you have this. And then we are left with the m minus the 1. That minus 1 is something that always catches a person out. That is the one that I got from there. But hopefully if you see it many times, you will not get it wrong. And what do we do with this one? You see again we have the bracket in the center, so what do you think? That's a good plan. First we multiply it out. So there's the GH minus HM minus GM. Now I'll just check that I'm multiplying the M in as well as the minus 1 that's in front.
Yes,
If it's easier to see like this, maybe if I do this step beforehand, and I just move the M to the front, then it's easier to see how I got my result. Plus the m squared. And what now? Look at the first two. What is the common factor in the first two?
H.
H. And we are left with G minus M. What is the common factor in the next two?
M.
M. Do we have the same bracket?
No, sir.
No, we don't know. So if I want to make this one positive and that one negative, I need to change the sign in front. So I need to change this sign. Sorry, my mistake. So this will be G minus M. So the G became negative, the M became positive M, the negative G became positive G, positive M became negative M. Do we have the same brackets now?
Yes.
Absolutely. So they go to the front, and we are left with H minus M. Okay, then to this one, I think you got this sort of right. So clearly you can see that we have the brackets. And I think both of you remove the brackets, which is fine. And then you've done this, which is also still fine. But now the second bracket has another common factor in it. There's a B and a B and a B, so we can remove a B as a common factor. So whether you put that B right in front or between the two, it's up to you. I just like to have it in front, then it looks better. That gives us 1 minus B plus B squared.
So, sir, is it fine if we never did that, the one on top? Of,
This one?
yes, sir.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. You can go straight with this one.
Okay, sir.
As long as you don't stick with this middle one. So if you do this one, it's fine, but there's still more to do. I prefer that you do this one right from the beginning. But sometimes a person just gets confused on it.
Okay, sir.
8.2, this is a difference of two squares. So just to refresh your memory with the difference of two squares. A squared minus B squared. Difference of a square and a square. So this becomes A minus B, A plus B. Always like that. So we calculate the square root of the first number. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of y squared is y. So there's my first bracket. The second bracket is the same. What is the difference?
Yeah.
The one will have a negative in between, the other one
Positive.
positive. So it doesn't matter where you put positive or the negative. Just remember that they need to be different. I don't know if any of you got this one wrong. I'm not sure. I think it was just an unnecessary mistake. This one you got wrong because you forgot to check for this.
Oh,
No, what does that stand for? Highest common
factor.
factor. So what is the highest common factor between 2 and 8?
2.
2. So we remove 2, x squared minus 4. So that is already worth 1 mark. And then you need to recognize this to be a difference of two squares. So that will be x minus 2 and x plus 2. So when we do factorization, highest common factor is always to be checked first. Sometimes we don't have a highest common factor that we can remove, and then it's fine. But if you don't remove it, you can't do anything more with it unless you've removed that. I know you tried something different there, but that is not.
Yes, sir.
That's scary. Scary wrong. Okay, this one you got partly right, because I think you've done this. Or did you write extra power 4?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we can't. No. The power is divided by 2.
Oh.
It's not the square root of the power. Let me just refresh your memory. The 16x to the power of 16 is, and this you need to be careful with, 4x to the power of 8. So we calculate the square root of a base number, like we do square root, but the power is divided by the number that is really in front there. 16 divided by 2 will give us 8. Common mistake, this one. So make sure that you don't forget about this. So we calculate the base like we calculated with the calculator, but if it's a power, the power is divided by 2. And this is why you got this one wrong then. But now the red one can go again. This red one can go again. That becomes x to the power of 4 minus y to the power of 4, x to the power of 4 plus y to the power of 4. But this green one stays as it is. There's no factors for the sum of 2 cubes. We'll just do some damage control here. But this first one can go again. It's still a difference of 2 squares. So this one will become x squared minus y squared, x squared plus y squared, x to the power of 4, y to the power of 4, x to the power of 8, y to the power of 8. And which one can go again? The difference, the one with the negative. So this one goes again. And then the rest, don't forget to write down all the rest here. So although this one looked simple from the beginning, you can see it's a lot of work that we have to put in here.
Yes.
Now this one can't go anymore because if we calculate the difference of 2 squares here, we will end up with square roots. So when do you know to stop? If there's no more powers that you can do something with.
Yes.
Or if the powers work out to an uneven number, or odd number. Good?
Yes, sir.
So this one was tricky. And again, with this one, highest common factor. So what's the highest common factor between 3 and 12?
3.
3. Then we're left with 1 here. 3 divides into 12 how many times? 12 divided by 3 gives us?
4.
4. I agree with 4. So this is a difference of 2 squares. So here's the 3. Square root of 1 is 1. One bracket is negative, one bracket is positive. So what's the square root of 4?
2.
2, and the square root of x squared is x. But again, you can see if we did not remove the common factor, then big issue. And this one, because it was, I said there behind the question, no calculator. But you can do it with a calculator. But you're not allowed to in this case. It's 115 minus 114. So I'm using the difference of 2 squares. And this is 115 plus 114. You see that? So 115 minus 114 will give us 1, and 115 plus 114 will give us 229. So final answer, 229. Let's check it on the calculator. 115 squared minus 114 squared. Indeed the same answer. But you were not allowed to use the calculator. So how do they know if you use a calculator? If from there you just write down the answer, then you use the calculator, then you need to use this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this one is also a difference of two squares. The square root of 1 is 1, the square root of a quarter is a half, and the square root of d squared is d. 1 plus a half d, this one is 1 minus a half d. .5, tricky one this one. If I want to calculate the square root of 3 to the power of 2x, the power is divided by 2, so this becomes 3 to the power of 2x over 2, and that is 3 to the power of x. So that is what you need to use here, because you can't use your calculator. And then this will become 3 to the power of x minus 1, and 3 to the power of x plus 1. But that one is tricky.
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
9.6, same applies to this one. This one is going to be 4 to the power of 2x. The power is divided by 2. The square root of 16 is 4.
Sir,
Yes,
how come we didn't say 2 to the power of 2x?
because we cannot calculate. Okay, let me put it to you like this. Let's say 4 to the power of 4. If you calculate the square root of that, what do you get? Check in the calculator.
16.
16. So if I do what you want to do there, and I calculate the square root of 4, that is 2. Square root of that is 2. That will give me 4. So something is clearly off here. So if we do this, to answer your question then is, you're going to apply it either at the bottom or the top, not at both. So I can do this one and say this is 2 to the power of 4, or 4 to the power of 2, and both those will give me 16, not like what I have done over there. So you're going to do the base or the power, but not both. So you could have 2 to the power of 4x, but then the power stays the same.
Okay, sir.
There's so many things that you have to remember that it feels like if you make notes of everything, you write a whole new book now, is it not? And the same here, we can do this one again. So the first one here will split again. 4 to the power of x, check. It's 4 to the power of x. I'm just dividing the power by 2. And this is 4 to the power of x plus 2. And then the last bracket must still come here. So this one just comes down, and that is 4 to the power of 2x plus 4. And you see, the thing is, you're going to get 1 or 2 of these just to throw you off your game. You're going to get those that you can do, and then you'll get something like this that's going to upset your whole thing. Any questions here?
No.
Still difficult?
A little bit, sir.
Yeah, it's not easy. I know it's not easy. Especially this one. This one is extremely challenging, because you have to see this as a bracket, and a bracket that is squared. So check what I'm going to do. This bracket is going to go here and going to go there. There's going to be a minus in between here, a plus in between here. This bracket is going to go here and there. So it's the first one, square root, second one, square root. First one, square root, second one, second one. So now it's going to look like this. I'm going to fill this in here. Let me go with the green first. So here is b plus 2d minus a half. B plus 2d minus a half. And then this in blue is going to be b, let me just do that in blue, b minus d minus a half, and b minus d minus a half. This is definitely your level 4 question. Then I need to, inside the brackets, get rid of the round brackets. So this is b plus 2d minus a half minus b plus d plus a half. I'm multiplying in the negative there. So going to the second set of square brackets, that is b plus 2d minus a half plus b minus d minus a half. Then I'm going to collect like terms. b minus d, they cancel out. Here's 2d plus 1d, so that will give us 3d. Minus a half plus a half, so the halves are also gone. So we're left with the 3d only in the first bracket. Second bracket, here's a b plus a b, that gives us 2b. Here's a 2d minus a d, so that will be plus d minus a half is minus 1.
So did you multiply out the brackets?
I've multiplied in the negative here. So that gave me negative b. I multiplied it in there, positive d, and I multiplied it there plus that. So no, I did not multiply out the brackets. I just added like terms. That's how I got to 3d there.
So the first bracket stays the same, so.
Yeah, because there's nothing that we're multiplying to that.
Okay, so.
Here the second bracket also stayed the same in this one because we're only multiplying with a positive, so no sign changes. Okay, then with this, I'm sure you are familiar with this. I just need to refresh your memory with this slightly. I only gave you the first few easy ones, or the ones that you've done last year. So just to repeat what I've said last year about this is, check the board. The plus there says that we add. So the signs will be the same. That one says both negative. So I have to check which of those will give me a sum of 7, and that can only be 3 and 4. The plus in front of 12 says the signs will be the same. The negative there says both negative.
So you don't put x squared, sir?
No, I think you put x squared.
Yes, sir.
Because I have to multiply this out. Check if I multiply this out, Zoe. So if I multiply those two to each other, there's my x squared. And if I multiply there, minus 4x, and if I multiply here, minus 3x, and if I multiply there, plus 12. And if I add these two together, I'll get my minus 7x. So there's your x squared.
Okay, sir.
10.2, same. Now we have to look at the difference of 1, and the only set that will give us a difference of 1 is again 3 at 4. So x3, x4. The negative in front of 12 here says that the signs will be different. One will be negative, one will be positive. I have to check the board quickly. That one is going to be a positive. I just want to explain how I got to that. So the negative there says the signs will be different, so we have to subtract. That means the signs must be different. So the biggest one must be positive, so that's why the 3 is positive, or the 4 is positive, and the 3 is negative. I'm just going to do a follow-up one on that one. Now we have the minus 12 again. So it still says that the signs are different. Except now it says the negative one must be bigger. So the 4 carries the negative sign, whereas the 3 carries the positive sign. The bigger one has the sign that's in front here. Because negative 4 plus 3 will give me negative 1, whereas with this one, 4 minus 3 will give me. Then with this one, we only have the factors of 1, a plus 1, a plus 1. Now some of you say, did you say 2? Okay, no, it's not that. It's 1 times 1, so we only have that. If we add 1 and 1, that will give us 2. And then I would like you to write this as a plus 1, but as a single bracket with a square on the outside. This one is very similar. It's again 1 and 1, so it's really the same as the previous one, except there's an A and a B now. That makes it slightly more complicated. But we're really looking at the one that's in front here, and that is how I got my 1 and 1 over there. These are again repeated, so it's bracket squared. Are you helping each other when you're done? Why not?
I don't know, sir.
10.9. Tricky one because of the fraction. So a half times a half is a quarter, and a half plus a half is 1. So that's all I have. And this is then the same bracket again. So x plus a half squared. I think that was the last one. Oh, here's another one. And with this one, highest common factor. So the highest common factor is 2x squared plus 2xy plus y squared. So this is going to be, can only be x plus y and x plus y. And we're going to write the brackets twice. I know factorization is very daunting in grade 10. It takes really a while for you guys to get the hang of this. And that was the last one. Okay, so let's have a look at those that are, I explained to you last week, I think, number 10, 10, 10, 13, and 10, 16. But I'm not going to do them again. I'm going to do together with you from 10, 11 onwards. So here's 10, 11. X squared plus 5x plus 2. Now we need to look at the factors of 3, which is 1 and 3, and I need to look at the factors of 2, which is 1 and 2, and then in between the two, I draw a line. So you have many more options here to follow than what we had previously. This is why this was left only for grade 10. So I write down the factors of the coefficient of the highest power, and I write down the factors of the constant at the back. Okay, so there are two ways that we can do that. There are two possible answers here. My reasoning is the same as before. Since there's a plus there, it means that the signs will be the same, so we have to add. This one says both positive. Now check here. If I multiply 3 to 2, That will give me 6.
Yes.
1 times 1 will give me 1. 1 plus 6 is 7. We need to get 5. So that will not work. Then I need to go across here and I multiply that to that one. That gives me 3. And that to that one, that gives me 2. So first we have to decide which ones we're going to use to multiply to each other. This is on the x side where the green is. So we will have 1x and we will have 3x. Maybe I should have this in green. Okay, that will not work. Let's do this. Let me just change the pen here. So this is 1x and this is 3x. Now here's the tricky part, to decide which is going to go into which bracket. Check the board. 3 is multiplied to 1. That means that 3 and 1 cannot be in the same bracket. I can't have the 1 here, I must have it here, because we're going to multiply like this. So the 1 goes there. The 1 is multiplied to 2. That's why the 1 and the 2 will not be in the same bracket, and the 2 will go there. I'm going to repeat what I said just now. So in order to check this out, that will give us 3x, 1 times 3. Can you see? That is why I have to have them in second bracket so I can multiply them to each other. And over here, we multiply that one to that one, and that gives us 2x. Together, that is 5x, and that is what we're looking for. So there's our answer. You don't have to write this part in black. This is just to explain it to you. If you want to write it down there to explain it to yourself, that is fine. Okay, let's try the next one. And the next one is number 10, 12. Okay, so we have to check the factors. We have to check the factors of 6, which is 1, 6, 2, 3. We have to check the factors of the 6 at the back. So that's 1, 6, 2, 3. Okay, so that's our first step, is to get the factors of each number. Okay, now stay with me here. Check what I'm going to do. We need to add to get 13. The fact that this is a positive means that the signs will be the same, in this case both negative. So that the theory that we've done with you in grade 9 is obviously still applicable, except we have more things to consider now. Now check this, this is how I reason this out. 6 times 6 is 36. 1 times 1 is 1. If I add it, that will give me 37. Way too big.
Yes.
Then I go with a cross. 6 times 1 is 6. 1 times 6 is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. That's close, but we need 13. So now I go with the last one. 6 times 3 is 18. 1 times that is 2. 18 plus 2 is 20. Not going to work. If I go like that, that will give me 6 times 2 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. 12 plus 3 is 15, still too big. So that means I'm going to go with 2 and 3 now. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times that, 3 times 6 rather is 18. And 2 times 1 is 1. 18 plus 1 is 20. That will not work. If I go across here, I'll get 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times, this is some sensitive. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times that is 6. That will give us 15. It will still not work. So it's going to be the last two numbers. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. 9 and 4 will give us 13. So it's a lot of reasoning that you have to follow here. That will give me 9, and that will give me 4. 9 and 4 will give me 13. So really a lot of practice will go into getting this right. So the red part that I have here, the red factors are the factors that goes in front of the x squared. So that will be 2x squared, not x squared, sorry, my mistake, 2x and 3x. So how did I get the combination that I was looking for? Check the board. I multiply 3 to 3. That means that the other 3 cannot be in the bracket where the 3 is already. So that 3 goes there and the 2 goes there. So the reason why to get to 13 I have to have 3 times 3 plus 2 times 2, and that gave me the 13. But the 3 is multiplied to the 3, so that means that the 3 that I have here initially can't go into the same bracket, it needs to be in a different bracket, otherwise I can't multiply them to each other. The signs were the same, both negative, so if I go there and I'll go there. Here I'll get my minus 9, and over here I'll get my minus 4. Let me just remove all these other lines here. But you can see to get this wrong is so easy, because you're just going to have the 3 in the wrong one. Then everything is wrong. And if you have one wrong, the other one is wrong as well, unfortunately, as well. Okay, number 14, 10, 14. (18x squared minus 21x plus 5). I need to check the factors of what?
5.
5 and
18.
18. So the factors of 18 is 1, 18, 2, 9, 3, 6. And on this side, the factors of 5. So we go through the whole process again. I'm just going to take a shortcut here to save us some time. You will see that the one that will work is 6 times 1 will give me 6. And 3 times 5 will give us 15. And 15 plus 6 will give us 21. So the 18 goes with the x squared. That means that the factors of 18, the 3 and the 6, will be with the x. So here we have 3x and 6x. So what goes where? Check, the 3 is multiplied to 5 to get me 15. But if the 3 is multiplied to 5, it means that 3 and 5 can't be in the same bracket. So the 5 goes here, and then the 1 goes over there. Sure. Having a plus at the back means the signs will be the same, both negative. So both negative. Okay, let's look at 1017. No, sorry, there's a 10, 15 in between. (7m squared plus 16m minus 15). I need to consider the factors of 7 and 15. So 115. 3, 5. This one is more difficult because it has a negative here. That means we have to subtract. So you can see, if you don't know your tables, this is going to be a complete nightmare, because you're going to take ages in your calculator to get the correct answer. Okay, so we have to get to 16, a difference of 16. Again, I'm going to go ahead and just do this. That will give us 21. 7 times 3. Minus the 5 will give us 16. 21 minus 5 will give us 16. So there's 1m and 7m. 7 is multiplied to 3. That means 7 and 3 can't be in the same bracket now. The 3 goes there and 5 goes there. But we need to get a positive answer. If I multiply these two, I'll get 21m. And if I multiply these two, I'll get 5m. I need to get to to 16. That means the 5m must be negative, and that will give me a sum of 16m. So 21 minus 5 will give me positive 16. That means that the 5 is going to be negative, and the 3 is going to be positive. I know this is a lot to take in. So for before Thursday, number 1017, 1018, so 1017 and 1018. And on the next page, number 11. So there's a lot to do. Please do it as soon as possible.
Yes, sir.
Have you guys in class started with the fractions yet? Where you put all of these on fractions and all that?